There's a lot to unpack here. And when I asked you or requested you for your time on this, I was struck by the irony of where you might weigh in as someone who's been a ferocious, trenchant critic of the British Raj, of its colonial mindset, of its refusal to offer the apologies even for massacres like Jallianwala Bagh. And today, this storm around a BBC documentary that the government and the foreign ministry, and may I remind you, you've served as a diplomat in that ministry, dismiss as reflective of a colonial mindset. How do you see the documentary?
There's a lot there, as you said, Barkha. I mean, the problem, I think, is not so much colonialism, though I do accept the point that in India, this is something that happened 21 years ago, that the Supreme Court has ruled on, and that people, including Muslims, feel we now should put behind us. So if India has moved on from this tragedy without in any way casting aspersions on those who believe that the full truth was not indeed revealed by the official investigations, nonetheless, if we moved on, why should a foreign television channel open the old wounds is a fair question. But I wonder whether to a great extent the problem was not the reaction of the government to the BBC documentary. Because if the government hadn't gone over the top in condemning it, thereby drawing attention to something which wasn't otherwise available in India, if they then hadn't started censoring it, taking it off YouTube, taking it off every other means of accessing it in India, perhaps this entire overreaction need not have drawn so much attention, and India could indeed have moved on. I mean, I was a bit bemused by the vehemence of the government's reaction, because frankly, my own gut instinct would have been that a mature democracy could simply have ignored it and said, you know, people can say what they like, we've got more important things to deal with in today's India. And that might have been a more mature way of moving on. So I was a bit surprised, I have to say, by the government reaction, because it had predictably what's called the Streisand effect. You know, when Barbara Streisand tried to suppress something about her, it became news, and everyone who wouldn't otherwise have paid attention to it did. In this particular instance, the government has drawn attention to all the debates and the controversies about what happened in Gujarat 21 years ago. And frankly, that, I think, may well have kept this controversy alive in a much bigger way.